All right, so hi, my name is Ellie. I am doing my activity for my final project on graphing. So we're talking about translations, reflections, and rotations. So I developed this activity because it allows students to practice using vocabulary and thinking through what rotations, reflections, and translations are and what they do. I did it because it was fun and different, um, and it was good to look at something different other than worksheets or packets. I thought it would be something fresh to use in the classroom. I developed this activity from easiest to hardest concepts and simplest to most complex ideas and concepts. I did this because I thought it would make it easier for students to gradually get to the hardest question at the end. So here is what the presentation would look like. Then the next one, I just talked about the standards. I know a lot of school districts like when you write down the objectives that your students are supposed to be working on for that day or week or month. And so here is my activity. So we'll see it from a student view. So first off right here, we have matching the vocabulary. This is kind of a review from a normal, like what we would have talked about in class. So then you could match those up. Next, it's talking, you get to explain what different ways you can move the red dot here to the blue dot. So using translations or reflections people could use. So an example would be for this one, you could say you could reflect it over the point where like this line here where it would be x equal or y equals whatever. So you can make it this line, or you could have them go to the left and down, or yeah. So that's that. Then there's another one. This is more practice too on that. So the point of me having them explain this part was just then you get a better sense of what their thinking is. Then reflection again. So we're going from easiest to hardest. So translations are usually easiest, then reflections, then rotations. So then we do reflection still. So both of these, this one is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. Then the next we have reflections, um, and then reflections. Oh yeah, then reflections. And then, so the reason why the difference between this one, these 2 points, and this one is because this one shows shape and it just makes it's harder sometimes to tell where they would be. Um, so this one too. So this one has a lot going on, but basically you have um, lots of different graphs, and then there are how these points have changed. And so you would connect them based off of how they were rotated, reflected, or anything like that. So there's about 8 or so cards for matching and 8 descriptions. So, yep. And then here's the hardest one that I thought describe how you get triangle 1. So this one right here, the position triangle 2. And so then they would um, describe that in that one. So, um, and the last one is the hardest because it talks about like it's more holistic. It's talking about a lot of different parts from what we talked about prior to that. So the reflections and the transitions. Um, so I would use this in um, a small group. You could do this individually. You could do this as a small group activity, and it could be a refresher before a short quiz or an assessment. It could be an informal assessment done individually or with small groups to see how students are doing with the content. I would rather do that individually just to make sure you can see what each student is doing. Um, I could use this activity as examples to show students to review the content. So it would be more of an instructor based activity too, and have the whole class discuss on what the answers would be. This activity could be a way to introduce reflections, rotations, and translations. Um, and then I could modify it to make it easier. But that is my activity. So thank you.